Hey everybody, it's Profithigh73. So I'm going to go over my latest trade, which was, hopefully, fingers crossed, my last trade that was a no plan trade. Meaning a trade that I went into with absolutely no plan and chasing a high and doing everything that you should not do. And I probably should call this video how you should not trade. So here we go. And I'll also go over briefly into why I got out of this trade and the trade that I entered into and why I entered into it. So this was the last trade that I went into with my whole winging it theory, and I held on to it for a couple of days and lost a good little bit here. But I was checking percent gainers. Like, if you watch all the videos, that's how most scans work with everybody, including Tim Sykes, Tim Grittani, and Bulls of Wall Street, Superman. Everybody checks percent gainers. And I found Neathetics, and I have no idea why. I just saw it spiking. And let's see if we can get back here intraday. A couple of days. Go 1 minute because that's what I was trading on, and it was in this spike here. And I saw it dip, and it created a lower or a higher low here. And I bought on this dip here, thinking that it would come back and retest and break this. And mentally, I had set a stop loss around 138. I figured if it couldn't hold 138, it was actually right in here. So I probably bought, my entry point was 141. So I bought in here with this, thinking it was going to start a trend lower, which I was right, but I didn't stick to that plan. My mental plan, my non-written down plan, which has never worked for me before. Didn't know why it would work for me now, so I didn't stay disciplined, and I ended up losing. Let's see here. I'll bring up my Profithigh. I just entered it in, so. And I put in as a comment to myself, so when I look back at it, my last trade with no plan, and been studying ever since. But it was right back down to my average, 20% loss. I lost 17% on this one. With a small position, small account, I still lost $85, 75 or 17% of my position. So a trade that I entered into, and this is actually the reason why. Let's see if we can go back. I actually got out of this at 116. I set in a market order to get out of that. And I got into TPLM, which I had on my watch list here that I had gone over. And I believe in that video, I said that I will probably look to enter this if it drops down. And it dropped down on this day here, the 27th. And I put my watch list out on the 26th, and it came down and it tested this. And I'd seen it around 26. And I wish I could say that I was patient, but I did have a plan on this. On this trade, I did have a plan. So let's see if I can go back here. On Tuesday, I wish I could say I was patient and say that I wish I could say I was patient and bought at 24 cents, but I was not. And what I ended up doing was buying when it broke 26. I saw it jump down to 25.5 and it showed support. So I actually bought in probably right before this drop at 257 is my average. And I only bought 1,000 shares because this was off of the 300 or the 3,000 that I started with. I had 257 left, and I learned some things on this trade because I did set, and my stop loss looking back was at 24 cents. My risk was 24 cents. It came down to 24.01. And I'm looking at a reward of 30 plus. And one thing that I'm going to add to this is any news, market news, any type of, as most know, OPEC decided their vote on the reduction of oil, which affects this stock. And that's something that I don't have on this list, which I need to add. It was something that I learned through this trade. I was watching oil because I knew it was a petroleum stock, and I noticed, I think on the 26th it had come down a little bit, but it was regaining. And I did not know about the OPEC meeting. I thought that was in later in the year, which it is, but apparently they had a brief meeting, which in my case, they luckily decided to reduce the oil because that's going to cause oil prices to go up, which after hours on this is going up, and it's already reached my target reward. So if I see any weakness tomorrow, I can sell at 30, and I followed my plan to a T, which this is my first trade with a plan, and so far it's working out with a little bit of help of outside market influence, which never hurts. But the reason I even got into this trade was specifically because of the chart. And I followed this trend line here. It came down, and even though market conditions added to the boost today, it closed below, but the next day it closed above this trend line here. So this could act as support moving forward. If it breaks 30 cents, I'm looking for that to hold as support. If it doesn't, I'm out as soon as possible. That's going to be my new risk level is 30 cents, which was my original reward level. So I just wanted to go over that. In my next video, I'll go over my new watch list, how I got my watch list, and hopefully if anybody has any questions, I can go over and try to answer any questions, or how I develop risk levels, how I develop resistance and support levels, how I draw trend lines or spot trend lines. Any questions that you guys would like me to answer, please ask, comment below, and thanks for watching.